The space station was alive with movement, a constant hum of engines, chatter, and footsteps echoing through its wide corridors. Aliens of all shapes and colors passed each other, some flaunting their natural beauty, others hiding behind cloaks and gadgets. The air smelled faintly of metal and recycled oxygen, but to Captain Elias Kane it was home enough. He had visited hundreds of stations across the galaxy, and this one, orbiting the planet Xylar 7, was a busy trade hub. But today something unusual caught his attention. In a dimly lit corridor, two young alien girls huddled against the wall, their eyes darting nervously as a group of older aliens walked past, laughing and pointing. Elias slowed his pace, curious. The taller of the two girls, Leia, had an awkward, elongated frame with a strange silver-blue skin pattern that shimmered in the dim light. The smaller one, Mira, was fragile-looking, her wings underdeveloped, barely able to flutter. Both carried an air of quiet fear, as if the universe itself had decided they did not belong. "They think they're clever, don't they?" One of the bullies snickered, a Terrian teenager with perfect shimmering wings. "Flying with broken wings and weird patterns. Pathetic." Mira tried to shrink further against the wall, her heart pounding. Leia glared at the bullies, but her size did little to intimidate them. Every species had its hierarchy, and in Terrian culture, beauty and strength determined worth. The girls had always been at the bottom, outcasts in a society that prized perfection. Elias's brows furrowed. Humans were different from most aliens. They did not instinctively mock weakness. Instead, they admired courage and determination. And these girls, they were clearly struggling to survive, and that was enough to earn his attention. He approached, walking calmly toward the group. "Hey," he said, his voice firm but neutral. "Back off." The bullies turned, surprised. "And who are you to tell us what to do, human?" One sneered, wings flaring. Elias did not flinch. "Someone who doesn't like seeing others picked on. Now step away or I will make sure you regret it." There was a pause. Aliens often underestimated humans, thinking them fragile or easily intimidated. Elias had learned that confidence mattered more than size or strength. The bullies hesitated, unsure whether this human could follow through. His calm, steady presence was unnerving. Finally, one of them muttered something under his breath and led the others away. Mira and Leia stared at Elias, disbelief written across their faces. He offered a small smile. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. Mira nodded quickly, though her hands trembled. Thank you." "Sir," she whispered. "You're welcome," Elias replied. "You shouldn't have to deal with that." "No one should." Leia's silver-blue eyes studied him. There was skepticism there, but also a flicker of hope. "Why do you care?" she asked softly. Elias shrugged. "I care because it's the right thing to do. And because I've been where you are." The girls exchanged a glance. Humans were rare here, and humans who intervened like this were even rarer. Elias noticed the hesitation. "Look," he said, crouching slightly to meet their eye level. "I can help you get somewhere safe. Somewhere people won't laugh at you. Are you willing to come with me?" For a moment, silence hung in the corridor. Mira's heart raced. She wanted to believe him, but trust did not come easily. Leia took a cautious step forward. "And if we do, what happens?" Elias smiled faintly. "Then you'll have a chance to prove that being different isn't a weakness. You'll see the galaxy in ways you never imagined. But first, we need to move quickly. Some people might not like us leaving." Mira swallowed hard but nodded. Leia hesitated, then mirrored her decision. Together, they followed Elias down the station's twisting corridors. He led them to a less guarded docking bay where his ship, the Starward Voyager, waited. The sleek vessel gleamed under the artificial lights, engines humming softly. As they climbed aboard, Elias glanced back at the station. From the shadows, some station authorities were watching, but he ignored them. Humans had a way of bending rules when it mattered, and today, rules were not the priority. Inside the ship, Mira and Leia explored cautiously. It was a small vessel, but well-equipped with compartments for living, a navigation deck, and storage for supplies. The girls had never seen a human ship up close. The technology fascinated them, but more than that, they felt safe. "Where are we going?" Mira asked finally, her voice still trembling. "Somewhere you can learn who you really are," Elias replied. "Somewhere you can grow without being laughed at or judged. It's a long journey, but I think you're ready for it." Leia, still uncertain, studied Elias. "And you? Why, help us. What do you get out of it?" Elias laughed softly. "Nothing. Maybe satisfaction in seeing others succeed where they've been told they will fail. Maybe I like proving the galaxy wrong. The ship lifted off the docking bay, engines roaring as they accelerated into the dark expanse of space. The station shrank behind them, lights flickering like distant stars. Mira pressed her hands to the window, eyes wide. Leia remained beside her, her arms crossed but her expression softening. Over the next few hours, Elias taught the girls basics about the ship, navigation, and survival in space. Mira discovered that she had an uncanny ability to understand alien technology, deciphering controls that even Elias found tricky. Leia's mind was sharp, capable of devising strategies to avoid dangerous zones of space, plotting courses that minimized risks from pirates and patrols alike. By evening, the girls had started to relax. They were beginning to realize that their differences, the things Tarion society had mocked, could be valuable. Elias noticed their growing confidence and smiled. "You're already proving me right," he said. "Being different isn't a weakness. You just need the right environment to see it for yourself." For the first time in their lives, Mira and Leia felt a spark of hope. They were not alone and they were not powerless. The human who had taken them was showing them that courage, cleverness, and perseverance mattered more than appearances. But as the ship cruised through uncharted space, Elias kept one wary eye on the communication panel. The station authorities had likely already reported the girls missing. Some of the wealthier Tarion families might not take kindly to this human kidnapping their prized outcasts. He knew it was only a matter of time before someone came looking. "Are we in danger?" Leia asked, sensing his tension. "Maybe," Elias said honestly, "but danger isn't always a bad thing. It teaches you to think fast and act smarter. And besides," he smiled at them, a confident gleam in his eyes, "I'm human. We have a way of surviving." The girls nodded, trusting him more with every passing hour. Mira adjusted the strap of her small backpack, feeling the weight of the supplies she had packed. Leia stood near the control panel, imagining all the ways she could help navigate through threats. They were no longer victims, they were students, learning to use their unique abilities in a galaxy that often underestimated them. The night in the ship passed quietly, the stars outside glittering like scattered diamonds. Elias shared stories of human explorers, merchants and warriors, tales of people who had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious. Mira and Leia listened in awe, absorbing lessons not just in survival but in resilience, courage, and self-belief. As dawn approached on the far side of a distant star system, Mira whispered, "Do you really think we can be like that brave?" Elias looked at her, expression calm and unwavering. "You already are. You just didn't know it yet." And for the first time, Mira believed him. Leia nodded silently, feeling a warmth in her chest she had never known. Together, they watched the stars streak past, their hearts filled with anticipation and a tiny spark of excitement. The station, the bullies, and the harsh judgments of their society were far behind them. Ahead lay the vast unknown of space, challenges they could never have imagined, and opportunities to prove that even the most overlooked beings could change everything. Elias leaned back in his seat, eyes scanning the navigation console. The galaxy was wide and full of surprises, but he had faith. These two girls, laughed at and underestimated, were not just survivors, they were potential heroes. And humans had a way of bringing out the best in those who had been written off. As the starward Voyager slipped into hyperspace, the three travelers faced the future together. The journey would be long, dangerous, and full of lessons. But one thing was certain. The last two alien girls were no longer alone, and a human who believed in them was about to change everything. The starward Voyager slipped through hyperspace, leaving the crowded station far behind. Mira and Leia stared at the stars streaking past the viewing window, their faces a mixture of wonder and nervous excitement. For the first time in their lives, they felt free from ridicule and judgment, but freedom brought uncertainty. "Where are we going?" Mira asked, her voice small but curious. Elias glanced at the navigation console, his fingers hovering over the controls. "First, to a small uncharted system," he said. "It's safe, remote, and far from anyone who might be looking for us. You'll see what I mean soon enough." Leia crossed her arms, still wary. "And after that?" "After that," Elias said with a faint smile, "we start figuring out what you're really capable of. Trust me, You both have skills this galaxy desperately needs." The girls exchanged a glance. Mira felt a flutter of excitement while Leia's skepticism began to fade. She had always believed her mind could do great things if only someone would notice. Now there was a human who not only noticed but believed in them. The first few days in hyperspace were quiet. Elias taught the girls about navigation, ship systems, and basic survival in space. Mira quickly grasped the intricacies of alien technology. Devices that looked complicated to most became clear in her hands. Leia's mind, sharp and strategic, excelled at planning routes, avoiding hazards, and predicting outcomes. One evening, as they floated in the observation deck, Mira whispered, "I never thought I'd be good at anything. Everyone used to laugh at me." Elias leaned against the railing. "Being different isn't a flaw," he said. "The galaxy rewards uniqueness, not conformity. You just needed the right environment to see it." Leia nodded, her silver blue eyes reflecting the stars. "I've always thought my ideas were worthless. People ignored me because I didn't fit in." "And now," Elias said, "your ideas matter. Big ideas, clever strategies. You have the chance to make a difference." The first test of their new reality came sooner than expected. Sensors detected an unmarked ship approaching their trajectory. Its weapons were unshielded but powerful, likely a pirate vessel. Elias quickly explained the situation. "We can't fight them head-on. Too risky. But if we work together, we can escape." Mira scanned the ship's systems. "I can override their sensors temporarily," she said. "It won't last long, but it might give us a chance." Leia studied the spatial map. "If we take a detour through that asteroid field, we can lose them. I can calculate the safest path." Elias's eyes lit up. Then it settled. "Mira, you scramble their sensors. Leia, guide us through the asteroids. Let's see what humans and Tarion misfits can do together." The ship shook as Mira tapped into the pirate vessel's sensors. Lights flickered on the display, indicating confusion in their systems. Leia's fingers flew across the console, plotting a twisting path through the dense asteroid field. Elias grinned, hands steady on the controls. "Hold on tight, girls. This is going to be bumpy." Rocks the size of small buildings whizzed past the starward Voyager, but Leia's calculations were perfect. Mira maintained the electronic interference, keeping the pirates disoriented. Elias maneuvered the ship with skill, weaving through the hazards. In moments, the pirate ship disappeared from their sensors, defeated not by firepower but by intelligence, courage, and teamwork. The girls stared at each other, disbelief written across their faces. "We did it," Mira whispered. "We really did," Leia added, a smile spreading across her face. Elias clapped his hands once. "Exactly. You two are stronger than you think. The galaxy may laugh at what it doesn't understand, but humans, we recognize potential even in the most overlooked beings." The encounter left a mark. Mira and Leia no longer doubted their abilities. They realized that the very traits others mocked, Mira's intuition with machines and Leia's strategic mind, were their greatest strengths. Over the following weeks, their journey continued through uncharted space. Elias took them to planets with extreme environments where survival required ingenuity. They navigated frozen wastelands, deserts of red sand, and oceans of liquid methane. Each challenge tested them, but also strengthened their skills. Mira invented small devices to assist with navigation and survival, while Leia designed strategies to avoid natural hazards and hostile creatures. As they traveled, news of the human taking the last two Tarion outcasts spread through communication networks. Other species began to whisper about the daring act, and slowly, opinions started to change. The galaxy had underestimated these two girls and the human who believed in them. One day, while orbiting a remote planet, Elias received a distress signal from a nearby colony under attack by raiders. He considered ignoring it. The colony was far from any major trade routes, but Mira and Leia shook their heads. "We can help," Mira said. "We've learned enough to make a difference." Leia nodded. "And if we stay hidden, nothing changes. This is our chance to prove ourselves." Elias smiled. "I knew you'd say that." "Let's do it." The starward Voyager arrived just as the raiders opened fire on the colony. Elias, Mira, and Leia acted quickly. Mira hacked the raiders' targeting systems, causing their weapons to misfire. Leia directed the ship through precise maneuvers, outsmarting the attackers. Elias coordinated the defense, moving civilians to safety and disabling raider ships one by one. By the time the skirmish ended, the colony was intact, and the raiders were retreating. Word of their bravery spread quickly. Mira and Leia, once laughed at and dismissed, were now heroes in the eyes of many. Humans, known for resilience and ingenuity, gained even more admiration, and the girls themselves felt pride they had never known. After the battle, Mira turned to Elias. "I never imagined this could happen. We're actually making a difference." "You always could," Elias said simply. "You just needed a chance. Remember, the galaxy doesn't reward those who hide. It rewards those who act, who take risks, who trust themselves." Leia smiled, her confidence growing with every passing day. "Then we'll keep learning, keep fighting, and keep proving that we're not what they said we were." Their journey continued. They explored planets abandoned for centuries, uncovered lost alien technology, and helped settlements struggling to survive. Everywhere they went, Mira and Leia's talents shone. Their uniqueness, once mocked, became their greatest asset. They had learned not just to survive, but to thrive. As the months passed, their reputation grew. Other species began to respect humans not only for their strength, but for their courage, creativity, and moral clarity. Mira and Leia became symbols of resilience, proof that even those society writes off as weak can rise to greatness with guidance and opportunity. One evening, orbiting a quiet green planet, Elias turned to the girls. "You've come a long way," he said. "From hiding in the shadows to shaping the future. You're not just survivors, you're leaders, innovators, and heroes. And the galaxy is starting to notice." Mira looked out at the planet below, a sense of wonder and purpose filling her heart. "I feel free," she whispered. "Like I finally belong somewhere." Leia nodded beside her. "And we owe it to him," she said, glancing at Elias, "for believing in us when no one else would." Elias smiled softly. "The galaxy has a way of showing you your worth. Sometimes it just takes a little human stubbornness to make it happen." They spent the night under the stars, the hum of the starward Voyager a comforting backdrop. The future was uncertain, but for the first time, the girls faced it with hope and confidence. They had learned that courage, intelligence, and compassion mattered more than appearances. They had learned that a human's belief could unlock the potential in anyone, even those laughed at by society. In the months that followed, Mira and Leia continued to grow, their skills becoming legendary across frontier systems. Other humans and aliens began to follow their example, inspiring new partnerships, alliances, and acts of bravery. The story of the two outcast girls and the human who believed in them spread across the stars, a reminder that the underestimated could change everything. The starward Voyager carried them onward, deeper into uncharted space where new challenges awaited. But the girls no longer feared the unknown. With Elias at their side, they were ready for anything. The galaxy, once cruel and dismissive, had become a canvas on which they could paint their destiny, and as long as they trusted in themselves and each other, nothing could stop them. Mira tightened her grip on the railing. Leia stood tall beside her, and Elias guided the ship with steady hands. Together they were unstoppable, a human and two alien girls proving that courage, ingenuity, and heart could reshape the galaxy itself. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, but for the first time they felt like home, and the human who took the last two alien girls had indeed changed everything.